there are trails, and then there are routes that were never meant to be walked. Paths carved into vertical cliffs, knife-edge ridges with 1,000-foot drops on either side, volcanic slopes that crumble beneath your feet, deserts so vast that one wrong direction means you may never return. Around the world, there are trekking routes so exposed, so unforgiving, that even experienced hikers hesitate before taking the first step. From the narrow spine of Striding Edge in England, to the infamous chains of Angels Landing in Utah, to the terrifying plank walk bolted into the cliffs of Mount Huashan in China. These are not scenic walks, they are tests of balance, endurance, and nerve. Some are battered by hurricane-force winds. Others are threatened by flash floods, rock fall, or sheer vertical drops. And yet, every year, people choose to climb them. Why? In this documentary, we journey across the world's most dangerous trekking trails, places where beauty and danger exist side by side, and where one misstep can change everything. Would you take the risk? In England's Lake District, Striding Edge looks almost elegant from a distance, a narrow ridge stretching like the spine of a sleeping dragon toward the summit of Helvellyn. But up close, elegance turns to exposure. The ridge narrows to just a few feet across in places, with steep drops falling sharply on both sides. In dry weather, experienced hikers can navigate it carefully. But when rain, wind, or ice arrive, and they often do, the rock becomes slick and unforgiving. There are no guardrails, no safety cables, just raw mountain. For over a century, Striding Edge has tested walkers' confidence and balance. Accidents here are not uncommon, especially in winter when snow conceals the true width of the ridge and cornices form deadly overhangs. And yet, the route remains one of Britain's most iconic scrambles. Because standing on Striding Edge feels like walking the boundary between thrill and consequence, where every step demands attention, and turning back is often harder than moving forward. This is not just a hike, it's a negotiation with gravity. Rising above Zion Canyon in Utah, Angel's Landing is both breathtaking and infamous. The final half-mile is what defines it. A narrow sandstone spine climbs sharply upward, and along its steepest sections, chains are bolted into the rock. Not for comfort, but for survival. Hikers grip them tightly as they edge along cliffs dropping nearly 2,500 feet to the canyon floor below. The exposure is absolute. There are no fences, no platforms, only narrow footing and the constant awareness of open air on either side. Extreme heat adds another layer of danger. In summer, temperatures regularly exceed 38 degrees Celsius, pushing dehydration and exhaustion to dangerous levels. Despite permit systems now limiting access, thousands still attempt the climb each year. Why? Because from the summit, Zion stretches in every direction, a cathedral of stone carved by time. Angel's Landing is a paradox, terrifying to climb, unforgettable to conquer. It demands patience, balance, and respect, and it reminds every visitor of a simple truth: nature does not adjust itself for human fear. Suspended along the steep walls of El Chorro Gorge in southern Spain, El Caminito del Rey was once known as the most dangerous walkway in the world. Built in the early 1900s for workers at nearby hydroelectric plants, the narrow concrete path clung to vertical cliffs over 100 meters above the river below. Over time, the structure deteriorated. Sections collapsed, railings disappeared, only rusted bolts and crumbling ledges remained. Despite official closures, thrill seekers continued to cross it, balancing on broken concrete with nothing but open air beneath them. Multiple fatalities gave it its infamous reputation. Today, after major restoration, El Caminito del Rey is far safer, reinforced with wooden walkways and secured access. But its history remains. As you walk along the rebuilt path, you can still see remnants of the original crumbling route beside you, a haunting reminder of what it once was. Here, the danger was not just nature. It was the fragile line between ambition and neglect. On China's Mount Huashan, danger is not hidden. It is openly embraced. High above the valley floor, wooden planks are bolted directly into a vertical cliff face. The path is barely wide enough for one person at a time. There are harnesses now, safety cables, supervision, but the exposure remains staggering. To reach the plank walk, climbers must first ascend near vertical staircases carved into stone, then traverse narrow pathways with nothing but chains to grip. Below them, hundreds of meters of open air. The original route was created centuries ago by Taoist monks seeking isolation and spiritual retreat. For them, the mountain was sacred. For modern visitors, it has become one of the most adrenaline-fueled hikes on Earth. Every movement must be deliberate, every hand placement secure. Mount Huashan does not tolerate distraction. It demands composure and rewards courage with one of the most unforgettable perspectives in the world. The Drakensberg Mountains rise like a fortress along the border of South Africa and Lesotho, a vast basalt escarpment carved by time and weather. The Drakensberg Traverse is not a marked trail. There are no official signposts guiding hikers across its length. Instead, this multi-day route stretches over 200 kilometers of exposed plateau, steep passes, and unpredictable weather systems. Navigation is part of the challenge. Mist can roll in within minutes, swallowing landmarks and reducing visibility to almost nothing. Strong winds sweep across the escarpment. Thunderstorms build rapidly during the summer months. Water sources are unreliable. Rescue operations are complex. And yet, for those who attempt it, the reward is profound isolation. Vast grassy highlands broken by sheer cliffs that plunge dramatically toward the valleys below. The traverse demands endurance, planning, and absolute self-sufficiency. This is not a trail you stumble upon. It is one you prepare for, physically and mentally. Because out here, you are not hiking through the mountains. you are crossing them. Carved by the powerful Yangtze River, Leaping Gorge is one of the deepest river canyons in the world. Towering peaks rise nearly 4,000 meters above the rushing water below. The high trail, which winds along the cliffs, offers spectacular views, but also narrow pathways and steep drop-offs that demand attention. Loose gravel sections can shift underfoot. Rockfall is a known hazard. During the rainy season, landslides can block sections of the route. Unlike some extreme ridge walks, the danger here is less about vertical exposure and more about terrain instability and altitude. But the scale of the gorge amplifies everything. Standing on its narrow paths, you feel dwarfed, a small figure between river and sky. The gorge gets its name from legend. A tiger, it is said, once leapt across the narrowest section of the canyon to escape a hunter. For modern trekkers, no leap is required, but courage still is. In the Scottish Highlands, Aonach Eagach is widely considered the narrowest ridge on mainland Britain. Its name translates to notched ridge, an accurate description of its jagged, serrated profile. This is not a walk, it is a scramble. The ridge requires constant hand use as climbers negotiate rocky pinnacles, steep descents, and exposed sections where the path narrows dramatically. On either side, the slopes drop steeply into Glencoe, one of Scotland's most dramatic valleys. Weather is the true adversary here. Rain turns rock slick. Wind can destabilize balance. Fog reduces depth perception, making exposure feel even more disorienting. There are no fixed protections, no escape routes once committed. The Aonach Eagach is short in distance, just over 3 kilometers, but it demands focus for every step. In the highlands, beauty and danger are rarely separated. They exist together, on the same narrow line. Along the rugged coastline of Vancouver Island, the West Coast Trail stretches 75 kilometers through dense rainforest and unforgiving shoreline. Originally established as a life-saving route for shipwreck survivors, it has since become one of Canada's most demanding multi-day hikes. But this is not simply a forest walk. The trail crosses ladders rising steeply above cliffs. It navigates slippery boardwalks, muddy bogs, and tidal zones where timing is critical. Storm systems from the Pacific Ocean can transform calm beaches into dangerous terrain within hours. Hikers must monitor tide charts carefully. Misjudging the ocean can mean being trapped against rising water and sheer rock walls. Fatigue becomes a factor as well. Heavy packs, uneven ground, constant moisture. And yet the wilderness here is extraordinary. Towering cedars, sea stacks rising from misty shores. The sound of waves echoing against rock. The West Coast Trail is less about exposure to height and more about endurance against the elements. It tests patience, it tests preparation, and it reminds hikers that nature's rhythm is not negotiable. On the island of Lombok, Mount Rinjani rises 3,126 meters above sea level, Indonesia's second highest volcano. From a distance, it appears almost symmetrical, peaceful, majestic. Up close, it becomes a test of endurance. The trek begins in tropical forest, humid and dense. But as elevation increases, vegetation thins, and the trail turns steep and unstable. Volcanic sand and loose gravel make footing uncertain, especially along the crater rim where slopes fall sharply toward the caldera below. Night summit attempts are common. Hikers leave camp around 2 a.m., climbing in darkness to reach the peak by sunrise. Fatigue, cold winds, and oxygen-thinning altitude combine into a slow, grinding ascent. The final stretch is relentless, 2 steps forward, 1 sliding back in soft ash. And Rinjani is not dormant. It remains an active volcano. Eruptions in recent years have reminded climbers that the mountain's beauty is inseparable from geological power. Yet at the summit, as the sun rises over Bali and the crater lake glows below, exhaustion fades into awe. Rinjani is not technical, it is elemental, a climb shaped by fire, altitude, and resilience. Just outside Guatemala City, Pacaya volcano smolders with quiet intensity. Unlike towering stratovolcanoes, Pacaya feels closer, more immediate. Its blackened slopes of hardened lava and ash stretch outward like a frozen river of fire. The hike itself is moderate, but the danger lies in unpredictability. Pacaya is one of Central America's most active volcanoes. Lava flows, gas emissions, and sudden eruptions have occurred repeatedly over the past decades. Underfoot, the terrain shifts constantly. Loose volcanic rock slides easily. Heat radiates through thin soles. In some areas, the ground is still warm from recent activity. Guides monitor volcanic behavior carefully, but nature does not operate on a fixed schedule. Standing near active lava vents, you feel something primal, the earth still forming itself beneath you. Pacaya is not a long trek, but it is a reminder that some landscapes are alive. And when you walk on an active volcano, you are walking on borrowed time. The Rub al Khali, the empty quarter, is the largest continuous sand desert on Earth. There are no marked trails here, no ridges, no handholds, no defined path. Only dunes, some rising over 250 meters high, shifting constantly under wind. Daytime temperatures can exceed 50 degrees C. At night, the desert cools dramatically. Water sources are nearly non-existent. Navigation requires precision. Dunes reshape the landscape daily. In this environment, the threat is not falling, it is vanishing. Disorientation comes easily. The horizon offers few landmarks. Footprints disappear within hours. Historically, crossing the Rub al Khali required caravans, deep knowledge of stars, and unwavering discipline. Even modern expeditions depend heavily on GPS, satellite communication, and careful logistical planning. This is not a hike in the traditional sense. It is survival in one of the harshest climates on Earth. In the empty quarter, danger is silent and vast. Along Namibia's Atlantic coastline lies the Skeleton Coast, a place where desert meets ocean in stark isolation. The name comes from shipwrecks scattered along its shores, broken by fog and violent currents. But inland, the danger shifts. Trekkers here face extreme heat, minimal water, and long distances between supply points. The terrain alternates between soft sand, gravel plains, and rocky outcrops. Dense coastal fog can roll in suddenly, reducing visibility to near zero. Wildlife adds another dimension. Desert-adapted elephants, lions, and hyenas roam parts of the region. But the greatest challenge is exposure. There is little shelter, little shade, little infrastructure. The Skeleton Coast feels abandoned, a place untouched by development and indifferent to comfort. Walking here means accepting isolation. The wind never stops, the horizon never ends, and the silence feels heavier with every step. In Snowdonia National Park, the route to Snowdon via Goch is considered one of the most exposed ridge walks in the United Kingdom. Goch translates to Red Ridge, a narrow arete stretching toward Wales' highest peak. The crest narrows to just a few feet across, with steep drops plunging hundreds of meters on either side. There are no chains, no fixed safety lines. Hands are required. Climbers move slowly, gripping rock, carefully testing each foothold before shifting their weight forward. In dry conditions, experienced scramblers can navigate it confidently, but wind transforms the ridge entirely. Strong gusts can destabilize balance. Rain turns the rock slick. Winter brings ice and cornices, hidden overhangs of snow that can collapse without warning. There is no easy escape once committed. And yet, Goch remains popular, not for convenience, but for the thrill of exposure. From the ridge, Snowdonia unfolds in dramatic layers of peaks and valleys, the Irish Sea shimmering in the distance. It is not the height that intimidates here. It is the narrowness, a thin line between summit and consequence. In the Swiss Alps, the limestone walls of the Wendenstock are among the most dramatic in Europe. Unlike natural scrambling routes, via ferrata paths are engineered, steel cables, metal rungs, and ladders anchored directly into vertical rock. They allow non-climbers to traverse steep faces that would otherwise require advanced mountaineering skills. But protection does not eliminate exposure. On the Wendenstock, via ferrata routes climb hundreds of meters above alpine meadows. Climbers remain clipped into steel cables, moving methodically from anchor to anchor. Weather here is unpredictable. Afternoon storms build quickly in the Alps. Lightning poses a real threat to those attached to metal cables. Sudden rain can make footholds slippery and unstable. Physical strength becomes essential. Arms tire, legs shake. Concentration must remain sharp. Unlike a hiking trail, there is no stepping aside if fatigue sets in. You are committed to the wall. The Wendenstock via Ferrata routes combine engineering and raw mountain terrain, a structured path through an unstructured landscape, controlled danger suspended in open air. Descending into the Grand Canyon via the Bright Angel Trail may not appear extreme at first glance. The path is wide, well-maintained, popular. But the danger here is deceptive. The canyon creates its own climate. As hikers descend, temperatures rise dramatically, often 10 to 15 degrees hotter at the bottom than at the rim. The trail drops over 1,300 meters to the Colorado River, and what goes down must come back up. Heat exhaustion and dehydration are the primary threats. Each year, hundreds of rescues occur due to hikers underestimating the return climb. There are shaded rest houses and water stations, but not year-round. Bright Angel's risk lies not in exposure to cliffs, but in overconfidence. It is a reminder that danger does not always look dramatic. Sometimes, it is the slow, steady drain of energy under relentless sun. The canyon does not forgive poor preparation, and its depth is measured not just in meters, but in endurance. In the deserts of southern Utah and northern Arizona lies Buckskin Gulch, one of the longest and narrowest slot canyons in the world. At points, the canyon walls squeeze so tightly that only a thin ribbon of sky is visible above. The trail itself is not steep, not high, but it carries a different kind of danger. Flash floods. Even if rain falls miles away, water funnels rapidly into the canyon's narrow corridor. There is often no escape route, no higher ground to scramble to. Water levels can rise within minutes. Mud becomes thick and suction-like. Debris can block passages entirely. Before entering Buckskin Gulch, hikers must check weather forecasts carefully, not just locally, but across the entire drainage basin. The canyon's beauty is surreal. Sculpted sandstone curves, beams of sunlight piercing through narrow openings. But it is a place where risk comes from above, from unseen storms beyond the horizon. In Buckskin Gulch, the sky, even when clear, must never be ignored. Along the Napali coast of Kauai, the Kalalau Trail winds 18 kilometers across one of the most dramatic shorelines in the Pacific. Sheer emerald cliffs rise sharply from the ocean. Waves crash against black volcanic rock far below. The trail itself is narrow, uneven, and constantly shifting between mud, loose rock, and exposed ledges. Heavy rainfall is common here, transforming sections into slick clay within minutes. The most notorious stretch is Crawler's Ledge, a narrow section carved into a cliff face where footing must be deliberate and steady. Flash floods threaten river crossings. Falling rocks are a constant possibility. Strong coastal storms can isolate hikers completely. Permits are required. Rescue operations are complex. Yet the Kalalau Trail remains one of the most sought-after coastal treks in the world, because beyond the danger lies Kalalau Beach, remote, untouched, framed by towering ridges and open ocean. The beauty is undeniable, but along Napali, nature is never passive. Every step along this coastline demands respect. Rising behind the ancient citadel of Machu Picchu, Huayna Picchu appears almost vertical. The climb is short, but steep. Stone steps, carved centuries ago by the Inca, ascend sharply along narrow terraces and exposed edges. In places, the path narrows to just a few feet, with sheer drops hidden beyond the mist. Humidity makes the stones slick. Cloud cover rolls in without warning, reducing visibility and distorting depth perception. There are cables in some sections, but much of the climb relies on balance and patience. Access is strictly limited by permit, not just to protect the site, but to manage safety. From the summit, Machu Picchu lies below like a miniature city suspended in the Andes. The climb is not long in distance, but it is vertical. And at over 2,700 meters above sea level, altitude adds another silent challenge. Huayna Picchu is a staircase into history, narrow, steep, and unforgettable. In southeastern Utah lies one of the most remote hiking regions in North America, the Maze District of Canyonlands National Park. Unlike defined trails, this is a labyrinth of sandstone canyons, mesas, and dead ends. Navigation here is complex. There are few marked routes. GPS signals can be unreliable within deep canyon walls. Water sources are scarce and often seasonal. Temperatures swing dramatically between scorching days and cold desert nights. Vehicle access is limited to rugged four-wheel drive tracks. Once inside, rescue is difficult and slow. The maze is not dangerous because of cliffs or exposure. It is dangerous because of isolation. Disorientation can happen quickly in a landscape where every canyon looks similar. Preparation must be meticulous. Maps, water planning, route strategy. Here the challenge is not height, it is scale. A vast wilderness that offers no shortcuts and no forgiveness for mistakes. In Acadia National Park, the Precipice Trail climbs the eastern face of Champlain Mountain, almost vertically. Unlike a traditional hiking path, this route is a network of iron rungs, ladders, and narrow ledges anchored directly into granite cliffs. From the base, the rock wall appears sheer. As climbers ascend, the Atlantic Ocean opens behind them, expanding with every step upward. But there is no turning casual once committed. The iron rungs demand steady balance. The granite can feel slick in damp weather. Wind gusts funnel around the cliff face unexpectedly. Seasonal closures are common here, not just for safety, but to protect nesting peregrine falcons. The exposure is immediate and unavoidable. Looking down means seeing open air beneath your boots. Precipice Trail is short in distance, but vertical in character. It is less a walk and more a controlled ascent, a place where human engineering meets raw coastal granite and where confidence must match concentration. In the Dolomites of northern Italy, the Giro del Sorapis loops beneath towering limestone spires. At first glance, it appears like a scenic alpine hike, but sections of the route traverse narrow cliffside paths where steel cables are bolted into rock for protection. Unlike a full via ferrata, hikers use the cables primarily for balance, gripping them while edging along exposed limestone ledges. Loose gravel underfoot adds uncertainty. Afternoon storms are common in the Dolomites, and lightning poses serious danger at higher elevations. The highlight is Lago di Sorapis, a glacial lake glowing turquoise beneath jagged peaks. But reaching it requires focus. Unlike broad alpine meadows, this route narrows into places where footing must be deliberate. The Dolomites are dramatic by nature, vertical, sharp, and unpredictable. The Giro del Sorapis blends beauty with exposure, a reminder that even postcard-perfect landscapes demand respect.